boon of getting older is that your survival habits take on new meanings, and that nostalgia becomes a hell of a drug. I put down video games for nearly a decade, convinced that whatever shred of will I had would be eaten up by my soft animal body wanting what it wants. For my 26th birthday, about 2 weeks prior to the pandemic lockdown in New York, I bought a Nintendo Switch, my first gaming console in 8 years. For the first time in what felt like eons, I no longer needed volition to force me to stand upright. Suddenly, the four orange painted walls became a safe haven from the accelerated world outside my window. Before COVID reporting became the Google search du jour, COVID was particularly ineffable. Was it literally everywhere? Could it come up through our window screens? Was it coding our groceries? Was there any meaningful way we could protect ourselves from it? Oftentimes we'd walk around the apartment wearing masks, which served a double purpose as my roommate took up the classic pandemic habit of making sourdough bread. 3 weeks into standing in place, the real-time social simulator Animal Crossing released its long-awaited installment for the Switch. I had played an earlier version religiously as a teen, finding a fervor in building a world that reflected my worldview, as it countered the experience of being gay in the suburbs. My avatar had spiky pink hair, a maudlin mansion with rugs covering every surface, and a tomato-colored duck named Ketchup for a best friend. As I plugged into the newest edition, Old Elements breathed fantastical life. I had close, even loving relationships with my neighbors who I made sure to speak to daily. A housing loan that could be paid off in a week's time by selling bugs, fish, and shells back to the bank that financed my house. I took an active role in the agricultural landscape of our shared island, growing foods I never ate in my waking life. The Switch was released in 2017, about 3 years prior to my purchase. While well developed, product obsolescence has been fed to me as so normal that I began only leasing my smartphone so that I could begin leasing another once this one began to crap out. What this meant on my Animal Crossing island, named Neo Jersey, harkening back to a better world shaped around my childhood suburbs, was long loading windows between each task. Every time I entered or exited my house, I was confronted with a long black screen reflected in the 6.2-inch diagonal LCD display with my face. My neck scrunched, my eyes worn in from spending the majority of my days glued to the blue light of my laptop, followed by my Switch. For the 1 to 2 minute load times I routinely encountered, the four orange painted walls of my room were laid bare. Here I was, in an 8x10 room with a permanently closed window, which I occasionally peered out to watch a man who stood on the corner daily to lecture that COVID was an iteration of HIV being delivered via 5G. On February 25th, 2017, the YouTube channel Lo-Fi Girl began a 24-hour-a-day live stream titled Lo-Fi Hip-Hop Beats to Study To. With origins in the bedroom and sample-heavy hip-hop sounds of Jay Dilla and New Jabes, both of whom found some popularity on Adult Swim, Lo-Fi, short for low fidelity, referred to the accessible, unpolished production quality. While briefly taken down for copyright issues, the stream continued until July 30th of this year, when an animation of a Studio Ghibli-esque girl finally closed her laptop after 8 years of continuous study. The popularization of Lo-Fi Girl exploded the realm of relaxed study streams and extended mixes, consequently delivering a meteoric rise in casual listeners of ambient music designed to accompany long-form tasks. Relaxed study mixes soon transcended genres, often taking on questionably scientific qualities that promise sustained focus for those navigating ADHD and depression. An early offshoot of the relaxed study mania was the emergence of video game relaxing music videos, which often looped and extended ambient scores from popular video games. This was a reasonable jump. Video game scores often repeat in the background as you play, offering a serenity and momentum as you navigate the increasingly complex tasks presented to you. By late 2021, I'd returned to work and recovered from my second COVID infection. I'd left behind Adderall and replaced it with an antidepressant, which helped combat the anxiety I often felt about my increasing lack of control over potential viral exposures. I shared an office with a boss who'd come in with a hacking cough, and it felt like each member of my bubble came home with similar stories. In the absence of stimulants, I struggled to find motivation to work, and found myself searching for methods to instead focus my attention. Pomodoro timers and productive procrastination stopped working, and instead I found myself back at the search X video game relaxing music. A surprising result always crept to the top: Resident Evil. Resident Evil, released first in 1996, was a pioneering zombie survival horror video game, characterized by hordes of nigh unkillable dead foes, a creepy mansion obscuring the horrors of a chemical warfare manufacturer, and a deep scarcity of resources to address what's in front of you. I watched my older brother play the game multiple times, glued to the seat next to him as he deftly dodged zombie dogs in narrow hallways. The first and only time I tried to play at age 5, I was mauled by the first zombie I encountered and cried. So what could be relaxing about this? Resident Evil canonized the video game structure still used to this day, the save room. For a moment in time, the player can find respite from the onslaught, heal their wounds, organize their inventory, and of course, save their game on a nearby typewriter. The score, which you've been listening to this entire time, doesn't forget that the horrors that live outside that door, but assuages you that yes, now you can take a deep breath. Resident Evil 1 Remake Save Room theme 1 Hour Ambiance, which is now in its 5th re-upload, became my primary tool of cluing my brain into working hours. Listening to it, I eventually got a new job with a boss who masked regularly, and found the early coordinates of what became my adult life. Perhaps the score evokes the sense of a real place, but as I continue to move through COVID social extended rubble still surrounding me, I begin to understand the need for a place to heal myself, organize my mental inventory, and save my game before it's returning on the other side of the door. Thank you.